Hello everyone, I decided to finally start on this. I've been meaning to do this for a while. This is one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo. And I know a lot of people like the second game more. But I always thought this one was more fun. A lot of people can't get into it because they think it's too hard. So hopefully I can show you guys how to actually play this game. Once you get into it, it's way more fun than you might think at first. And I know some people are gonna say, "Oh well, it's just one of those games that you have to grind and grind." It's really not. That's why I'm going to impose upon myself some rules. I'm not going to do any grinding, with a couple exceptions. One is to grind up to level 3 at the very beginning of the game, and another exception is if I happen to run short on money when I get to a new town. Other than that, I'm not going to do any grinding at all in this playthrough. And I will show you some of the various things that I do to get through the dungeons and the bosses that people have trouble with. So hopefully this might help some people to learn how to play this. And I apologize, so I'm not very good at talking. I'm very new to streaming, so please bear with me with that. Oops, I keep forgetting it does that. Anytime I click anywhere else, it pauses the game. Right, so I'm going to change that. I'll leave it. I don't think this actually does anything if you're on emulator. So there's really no point in picking up the chests here in this first area because this is just the prologue. So I'm not going to do that because you start with plenty of way more items than you could ever need. And really, they made the prologue so easy you can't possibly lose. One of the things that people hate about this game so much is that they will complain about how if you told somebody to swing at something that's already dead, it'll just swing at nothing and miss like the Dragon Quest games do. That's really not a problem if you pay attention to how strong each person is in playing ahead. I always found that made the game more fun because you had to actually think about what you're doing. Like right there, if I'd put everybody on the same enemy, then I would have had 2 people swinging at nothing. Well, the easiest fix to that is to just, like, not do that. Now, some spell names in this game, a lot of people have trouble remembering what does what. There is a way to actually have the game tell you what a spell does. I forget which button it is you have to hit when you do. Okay, it's what would be the X button on a Super Nintendo controller. But after a while, if you just pay attention, you'll memorize what does what. Especially once you actually get into the main game after the prologue. I really should have had him trick Guy that last round instead of attacking. That was an accident. Now on these next two bosses, I'm not going to bother casting Thunder because it doesn't really do much of anything. I am still going to use Trick though. I almost did that again, actually. And if any of you have ever played Lufia 2, you probably remember this from the very end of that game, since it was the prequel to this one. Although this game doesn't show that part where he has to make the fortress crash. I got my cat on the table here. Hopefully he doesn't cause too many problems while I'm trying to stream. He's not used to me streaming. And he wants to cross in front of me for some reason. Maybe if I put my bottle down there, he'll quit trying to mess with it. I guess he just wanted to look out the window. Okay, now that we have control, let's do what you usually do in most RPGs, and that is run around and pick up all the things that you can pick up. There's not a lot of stuff, but there is some. Most of it's not going to be that useful, though. Every little bit helps at the very beginning of a game. You do eventually get Lufia in the group, so you might want to keep some of this stuff, like that bracelet. Although I think the shop might sell something better. I can't remember. It's been a while. You also want to check these flowers, because there's usually hidden chests in some of them that you'll see in various towns. I can never remember where all of them are, so I just check them all. Now, along the way, I'll explain some of the items. Sweet waters make it so that you don't run into as many enemies, which actually does more damage than you would think. Because if you're not running into enemies, that means you're not getting very much experience, which means you'll be underleveled, which means that just makes the game harder, which is one of the reasons why people think this game is so hard, because they try to avoid all the encounters. Well, that doesn't really help you in the end. Now, I said at the beginning that I wasn't going to do any grinding past this level 3 here once I get done in town. Well, the way we do that is that we fight most of the stuff that we come across. That way we have decent levels throughout the game, and there won't be any need for grinding. Don't know if that's enough to buy him a weapon or not. Oh, it is. Actually, it is enough. The UI takes a little bit getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not that hard. I know that's another point that some people will talk about with this game. This takes a little getting used to. Now the reason that we grind to 3 right here is because getting to the second tunnel without it is fairly difficult to do, because you don't even start with a healing spell. And as you can see, I can barely last a couple fights before I need to rest. And you need armor from the shop, and I don't have any money. But by the time you get to level 3, you should have enough. And you should be able to survive. And you should learn the healing spell by then, if I remember right. And levels in this game are fairly random as the stats they give you. That one was actually fairly nice. And if you did happen to die in combat, it's not a huge deal, because you just go back to the last town you've been at, or rather the last town you saved at. It just takes half your money away, then you'll have to revive everybody. So it's not like you get a game over and you lose a bunch of progress or something. Although losing half your money can be quite a lot later in game. That's another point that I actually want to bring up, is I'm playing this on emulator, just as a disclaimer. I'm not going to use the save and load state very much at all, except for maybe during longer dungeons, just in case there's like a power outage or something. And there's a couple places that are fairly annoying with a bunch of teleporters or trapdoors. That'll be mostly just to take some of the annoyance out. Otherwise, I'm not going to use save and load states. How much money do I have? 104? It might be level 4 I always ground up to. I know I said 3 when I first started. Depends on whether or not I get the healing spell at this level up. Maybe I was thinking level 3 is in getting 3 level ups, which actually puts you on level 4. Yeah, I think that is what it was. So I think it's level 4 I would always go to. Shouldn't take too long now that I can survive longer. And that'll be all the grinding in the rest of the game, unless I happen to fall short when I get to a new town to buy all of its equipment. Now, oddly enough, those potions are nice when they drop, but I've hardly ever used potions in this game. Once I get to the third town, you'll I think it's the third town, or is it the fourth? You'll see why once I get there. I'm half there already. That didn't take very long. Let's see about getting some armor so I'm not taking quite as much damage. I can get this. Fact is, that's the best you can wear, so yeah, I have enough money for all the armor you can get from here. I just gotta finish out this level, then I can move on. Okay, just a couple more, depending on what comes out. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it's called Strong, but it's actually Healing Spell. And now that I have that, I can proceed to the next town. Or technically the next 2 towns. Those grilled newts heal a small amount of health, but they also heal a small amount of MP too, so that's nice to know. If you ever end up in a dungeon or something, you're running out. See, there's one there. These great potions, I think you can do the same thing with items. No, you can't actually. You can't actually hit that button that tells you what a spell does. That doesn't work with items, apparently. But the Great Potion, if I remember right, that's HP increase. We're going to save that for a certain character that we get later on. I'm not going to waste those on him. The last character you get has the worst health out of anybody in the group. I don't remember if you have to talk to any of these people for the next story thing to happen or not. So I'm just going to talk to them just in case. Okay, that should be it. Yeah, I'm only missing 6 health, that'll be fine. The caves and dungeons in this game get pretty mazy. This first one, they start you out real easy though. In the first few. Oops, I forgot about that. If I remember right, there's a chest or 2 over there, but the only way to get to them is to go in the other entrance that I completely forgot about. Like I said, it's been a while, probably about a year or so since I've played this. Maybe even a year and a half. Oh, it's right up there. Well, that was nice. Those bites, if I remember right, I think they're poison or they might be paralyzed. I don't remember which. Thankfully, it almost always misses. Hope it ain't poison, because I don't have any antidotes, I don't think. Unless they start you with some? No, they don't, actually. That would basically be a death sentence, because it makes you lose a health each step. Now, this cave having 2 different entrances, or 3 if you count the other side, is a pretty good introduction to how caves are in this game, because a lot of caves do that. There's several different entrances in the same dungeon. Especially the Illumina caves, for anybody who's actually played this before. If I remember right, what I have to do here is I have to find the dungeon to progress the story. But I don't remember exactly, so I'm just going to go through the whole place. And you switch to open that. I might need that guy's key to get that switch. I don't remember. Yeah, I need... Okay, so I can't get to the dungeon yet. That's right. Like I said, it's been a while. So you have to walk back to the first town to tell the king, and then on your way back, you run into somebody on the way back. I think in that town, maybe. And there's no way you could do this level 1. So I'm pretty sure they intended for you to get at least level 4 before trying this. Though you could probably do it on level 3. I think it's just easier to do it this way. And I think there's one more person I have to talk to in here. Where is he? There he is. I'm pretty sure this is also the point where Lufia joins you. Yeah, this is when she joins you. Better go back and get her a better weapon now. I was thinking about selling those arrows because I never use them. But they only sell for 1 gold. I might just use them with Lufia then. Okay, I think that's what I had to do here. Now when you go to the cave, that guy will be up there, and he'll give you the key you need. One favorite tactic of mine is to weaken an enemy with Leo there and then have Lufia finish it off. That was actually pretty nice. I like that level up. She's getting a bit too low though. That agility and magic resistance was nice. Everything else was average. There ain't no field of flowers anywhere in here, is there? I don't think there is. Well, some down here. I don't think there's anything in here, though. I'll check anyhow. No, okay, I didn't think there was. I think I checked these already earlier, I don't remember. But apparently there are none. Okay, now we just get onto the basement to that dark tile we saw earlier. Another great potion. The more of those I find, the better. And as anybody can predict, there's nothing you can really do here. If only I could remember where they are. That's not her. Okay, it's her. I knew she was one of them. Well, it should be pretty smooth sailing to the next town. That was kind of a bad level up there. But they happen. The cat has a big hair hanging off of his lips. I don't know where he got that from. Hopefully Lufia will gain a level before I get to that town. And hopefully it's a good one. Now, I know when I first started I said that this game's not really that hard. The first couple bosses do have some challenge to them. And status effects this game are very bad. It's one of those games that you really want to be careful with those. Well, she's definitely going to get a level up, that's for sure. It's an average level. that's right, you can't even use that. Actually can't afford any of this stuff. I need about 600 gold. Now remember what I said at the beginning of the video, that I will grind a little bit if I don't have enough gold to buy all the equipment in a new town. So that's what I'm going to go do now. Didn't actually mean to use that on twice. Mostly because I'm rusty. That is such an easy mistake to do. I have enough to buy her robe now. I think I will. Either the robe or the hairband. Not sure which would give her more. I'd raise it to 20. Raise it to 19. Oh, I can't afford the robe anyhow. Oops. Oops. I should have checked the time before I did that. Oh well. Go ahead and sell that. So I still 240, 260. So I need 500. Would have really helped if I hadn't done that. Looking for the cleric. I don't remember where he is. That's a, even is it? Pretty sure pretty much every town has a save point in it. Oh, there he is. Oops. And I'm not gonna cheat and reload or do anything like that. I'll just get the money. That was a good level up. Wish he'd gotten some MP, but those other stats are good. And that spell there is the first AoE spell you get in the game. I'm not going to use it on crabs though, because they're strong as water. Ouch. I better heal her. Actually, I'm gonna heal him again. There we go. That should do me for a few fights. It's good that he's starting to get to kill these in one hit sometimes too. Really speeds things up. gosh, more of the crabs come out. Even she can kill those now. Okay, let's get that dress, or that robe for her. Okay, I only need 240, then I'm done in here. Or at least done with trying to get money. Since I'm actually doing this live, and I don't really know how to edit videos, I'm gonna have to be right back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Maybe someday I'll learn how to edit videos and take those little parts out. But until then, you'll just have to bear with me, or just skip ahead. I killed one of them. Killing stuff generally gets faster later in the game when you get the other, especially after you get the fourth party member. Nice MP. Kinda wish she'd get a little more strength though. Just shy halfway. That wasn't too bad for the agility. Everything else was average. Though that float spell ends up being very important throughout pretty much most of the game. It lets you avoid the damage tiles that you find in dungeons. They have potions that do the same thing, but why waste money buying those when you can just use the spell to do the same thing? Wish more of those would come out. I'd have the money real quick. Almost. 17 more. Or at least she can usually kill those. Okay, I have enough. Now, I was thinking that the boss fight is right away, but now I remember I have to go somewhere else before the boss fight, which is good. So that means I'll get some more stuff before then. Also might have helped to have that earlier. So you may have noticed that I picked up a foul water earlier, and I said the sweet waters reduce encounter rates. Foul waters increase them, so you might ask, well, why don't I just use those to get more experience? And the answer to that is you can't actually buy them anywhere in the game. The only ones you get are as drops. And there's a certain point in the game later that you'll want to use those for a specific item drop. So I'm going to save them all for then. you can check that to get a nice sword, which is really going to help with the upcoming fight. They even made a nice reference to this in the second game because they start Guy out with a short sword. Another great potion. And now to walk all the way back to the town and then the boss fight. Those are very nice, those mid arrows. It is very helpful to get as many of those as possible before the second boss fight. And if you're ever having trouble with that fight, you can always fight the kobolds to get more. But we have a no grinding rule, so we're not going to be doing that. I'll have to settle for however many I find on my way there. That was kind of a bad level up, but she learned strong, which will be very helpful, obviously. Okay, definitely gonna need the inn. And of course, save. If I remember right, dude does not work on them very good. I can try it. It does, but they use mirrors. Okay, that was pretty easy. Another bad level up. And his level ups tend to be average. The main thing you want for a Guru is agility, though, because his agility is so low. Okay, so you're going to want to change the combat order. You want the two fighters in the front and Lufia in the back. And let's see, what's he wearing? Right, he needs a helmet. I thought I remembered right. I don't remember if you have to talk to some people in here. Maybe this guy. No? Okay, I think that's who I had to talk to. Don't remember if I saved. Just gonna save here real quick. I didn't, in fact, because I could see there's only 2 people there. No way to get rid of that. Okay, it's probably the shortest trip I ever took. Where is the item shop? There it is. I think that's probably like the first time I've ever seen that happen right after leaving town. So we'll try this again. She can almost kill one of those. Yeah, she did kill one. So this cave is one of the first mazy caves, but it's really not that mazy. And these poison fields are a lot like flowers. You oftentimes find chests in them. So you want to check each one you come across. It's actually kind of a low level up for him. I forget what that does. Gives defense, probably give it to her. No, actually gives magic resistance too. Give it to him because his magic resistance is so bad. That's gonna be like a common theme throughout the whole game. And the way that float works, if you cast it right before stepping on some poison, like I did there, it'll stay active until all 4 people, or however many people you have in your party, step off of it, and then the spell ends. Otherwise, it'll just the spell will just continue to work. Nice HP on that. Everything else was kind of bad though. I forget. I think it's the top one. Yeah, it was the top one I wanted. I think the bottom one just takes you back to the beginning. Now those tiles are in the second game are like in every dungeon. In this game, some dungeons have them, but most don't. That's good. Another mid-air. That's like, what, 3? I'm hoping for 1 or 2 more by the end of the cave. That just takes you to the beginning of the cave. Did I go down here yet? Yeah, that's where I went the last time. I think it's the only way you can. No, wait. It's like 9 o'clock at night, so if I can't remember, that's part of the reason why. Okay, this was the right way. Actually, great potions are strength. I think power is HP. Either way, they're both for the best used on the fourth party member. Another mid arrow. I need those. So I'm gonna make another loop run here to heal up again before I try the boss. So I might just get another arrow. And certainly a level up for those two. Another mediocre level for him. Wrong way. Yeah, there they are. I was gonna say, do I have any potions left? Now this is that boss that gives a lot of people problems. But then I imagine a lot of people don't know how good those mid arrows are. Even so, ouch. That will help a lot. As will that. Got it pretty much in the bag. I gotta tell the guy that his ship is back, and then we can be off. It's still good to remember this town's name, though, because you'll be coming back here a lot later. If I remember right, they don't have anything in the shops here. Oh, actually they do. Couldn't remember what that, oh, it's the spell potions that give MP. And none of these shops have anything good, so you just want to come up here to progress the story. And you have to change his combat order again. Thankfully, there's not too many times in the game you have to do that. I just need a tan helmet for him. One tan is 240. That's 280 for another one. 380, 460. About 1,000 for everything, roughly. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. Thankfully, they gave us some special enemies around here. Not these guys, though. I don't remember if there was a weapon shop in that place. Should probably check. Yeah, there is actually. Just need a long knife. Or, wait a minute. Yeah, or a staff rather. Okay, so I need about 1,400. Obviously get the staff as soon as I can. If the right enemies would come out, this would go pretty quick. There we go. These are the guys we need. The only bad thing about these guys is that they can sometimes run away. But that won't happen this time. Can buy her staff now. That's right, I bought a shield for him earlier, didn't I? I might have accidentally sold it. Oops. Let's see, he has everything but the helmet. And he needs a shield. And of course the armor. So that's one of the rare instances that I actually do get a miss at thin air. Because I didn't think he was able to kill that on his own. But it's not that big of a deal if it only happens every once in a while. Which it should only happen every once in a while. If you do it right. Another bad level up for him. What was it again? 480. So I'm almost there. One Ruizard fight would do it. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. But it's fine, I got plenty. I guess I'll pretty much do it. Yeah, easy. Okay, we're ready to move on. The end's down here, though. Same stuff we already have. As is that. Sorry, I had to cough there for a bit. I'm losing my voice. Okay, speed potions you always give to him because his agility is so bad. Now the way this cave works is every 5 levels on the hero, you get to go to a new floor. You could theoretically just grind the whole game here until you get down to the last floor, but we're not going to do that, as obviously that goes against the rules. But I've actually done that a couple times. It takes forever to do. Now, if I end a dungeon at like level 14 or 19 or something like that, then I might just pop off that level just to get on to the next floor. I didn't mean to step on that. Now these first few floors, a lot of these boxes are going to be empty, but that improves as you go down in the floors. Okay, this is one of the few places I use a Sweetwater. Just because, you know, she's there by herself. I'll gladly take anything that raises her damage. And of course, the combat order again. Okay, those dragon eggs will be useful later in the game. When you get all 7 and go to a certain shrine, you get a really nice item. You can actually repeat that a couple times too. Though, unlike the second game, they're not randomized in this one. Okay, I wasn't sure they were going to let me try that. I guess they will. So we'll go and get that item too while we're at it. And then after this lore, I'll have to return at level 15. Ouch. When going to a new floor, usually the enemies are fairly strong, because you don't have good equipment yet. That's why floors after this, when I start using Sweetwaters and smoke bombs. I think I'll actually start doing now. The only thing is I only have one smoke ball. Ouch. That's nice, it gave me another one. And thankfully I'm almost done with the floor. This is a definite run. There it is. Those frogs have dew. Oh. I'm glad that run attempt worked. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's the cursed. Yeah, I think that's the cursed one. Glad that frog didn't cast anything. That could have been bad. Nice money, though. So that ring makes her dew spell hurt a bit more, but I'm not going to actually put that on her. Okay, that floor is done. Now we're going back here to buy some supplies. Now, I don't think a lot of people know this about this game. Is that these plum ciders, they heal between 70 to 80 health, but only outside of battle. I think a lot of people try using them in battle, and if you use them in battle, it just works like a temporary attack increase, so they probably just forget that they even exist. But you can carry multiple stacks of 99 into a dungeon and never have to worry about running out until like way later in the game where it starts taking 2, 3, 4 stacks to get through a dungeon. But by then you have other means of healing. I did not stay at the end. I couldn't remember if I did or not. Okay, I'm going to end the episode here, and we will continue probably the next time I have an opportunity, days I have off work. So until then, I hope you look forward to the next episode.